Welcome, everybody, to the Redzone Report. I'm here, your host, Izzy, right after the New Orleans Saints versus Buffalo Bills game. Normally, I start off and kind of give people, a chance to get in here, and I'm going to do that. I hope everybody finds this well, and I hope that everybody enjoyed the game. It was a good game. The Saints gave the Bills everything they could handle. The Bills still come out on top, and that's what's important. The Buffalo Bills with a victory. But before I get the show started, before I hit the intro, I wanted to dedicate this show to a fallen comrade of mine. I did 2 tours in Afghanistan with this man. He was a great leader. He is retired Staff Sergeant John Buffington. Served with me in the 82nd Airborne Division, 2 tours in Afghanistan with this man. Again, a great leader, great guy. And Buff, you'll be missed. And I'll put a picture of him up, and we'll do a 10-second moment of silence for retired Staff Sergeant John Buffington, who passed away this week at the age of 51. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the show started. Everybody, enjoy. Let's go. Welcome, everybody, to the Redzone Report right here on the Built in Buffalo YouTube, Facebook, and X channels. I'm your host, Izzy, here to talk Buffalo Bills football. And I tell you what, we had a good game today. The Saints came out, and they were swinging just like we were. It was a heavy dose of running for both teams. The Bills ran for 165 yards, the Saints for 189. It was a knockdown, drag out fight of a game. Both teams turned the ball over one time. The Saints did on downs their last possession of the game, where AJ Epinesa and Joey Bosa were closing in. They were closing in from both sides, pinching him in the pocket, and Bosa was able to get a hand in there to knock the ball out. So Josh Allen had a, what we expect from Josh type of game, right? Bend, don't break defense from the Bills, except for against the run, apparently, where Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller ran for 70 and 65 yards each. And then Spencer Rattler rattled off another 49. The game was tight until the fourth quarter when the Buffalo Bills pulled away. The Bills didn't lead except for when the game started. The Bills, ran right down the field, scored a touchdown. Then the Saints did the same thing. Then the Bills scored another touchdown, and then the Saints put up 3. And the game at halftime was 14-10. Buffalo Bills. The Bills then put up some more points, get it to 21-10. Josh Allen hands it off, I believe it was to James Cook for that second one, or James Allen scored the first or the second one. Anyway, trying to remember the game at the same time. Bills go down the field, score 21-10. Saints then put up a touchdown and go for 2 to try and make it a 3-point game. The Buffalo Bills stopped them on that 2-point conversion. Then put up another touchdown, 28-16. Saints put up another field goal, making it 28-19. And then the Buffalo Bills put up a field goal to make it 31-19, winning by 12 today. And it was a doozy. Like, it was back and forth. The Saints did not come out here and flop. They came out here to win. They came to Buffalo to win. And they almost did. At points, there were points and times where the Buffalo Bills were shooting themselves in the foot with penalties. The Buffalo Bills, made some boneheaded plays. Looked like we were going to lose some players to injury. We may have lost our punter. He's 33-year-old. And he got taken out at the knee. The Saints were desperately trying to block a punt so that way they could get the ball on a short field to try and score and go for the win. And I don't blame them. I don't blame the guy who went for the block there. But it was pretty tough for Cam Johnston seeing his leg extended that way. And that he's 33 years old, so that could be his career. So I'm hoping and praying for Cameron Johnston. I hope that he's okay. But our run defense was ass today. They were pretty terrible today. I expected for them to run like that, and I think that Spencer Rattler's legs really can help contribute to the running backs being able to get loose. Because when you have a quarterback who's running quarterback draws or picking you up the middle like Josh does, he definitely ran more Josh Allen-ish today, except he definitely slid more because, not everybody's Josh Allen. But just the way that Spencer Rattler attacked the Buffalo Bills today was impressive. Like, I can see now why he won that job. I mean, he only threw for 126 today, but they mattered when he completed the ball. First downs, check downs a lot. He was 18 of 27, which is really efficient, but only 126 yards, so 4.7 per throw. Sacked 3 times. Passer rating, 89.4, which is solid. It's not a bad passer rating. Like 70s, all right, you had a rough day. And if you have below 70, it's like, wow, you were not good today. The defense was getting after you. So Spencer Rattler played a very respectable game. He, 49 on the ground, 126 through the air in a knockdown, drag-out battle with the Buffalo Bills. It was a battle. I'm seeing the comments here. My man Kim Boomhauer in here. That was closer than it should have been. It was much closer than it should have been. It should have been a blowout by the Bills, and the spread I think was 16 points, but we won by 12. So if you took the spread, sorry for you. Our O-line had a hard time with Cam Jordan, which is expected because Spencer Brown was out. And so compensating to the right seemed to be something that contributed to it. Ryan Vandermark played solid enough, but Cam Jordan's a dog. Like he's a beast. And so it's a thing when you have a backup guy going against one of the better pass rushers from the last 10 to 12 years in the NFL in Cam Jordan. I mean, that dude is an animal. And Spencer Brown would have had a hard enough time with him. But you ask Ryan Vandermark, I think Ryan Vandermark held up solidly, but they definitely had to compensate towards that side. And, it is what it is. You deal with it. But, yeah, it was a lot closer than it should have been. Run defense was very rough, dude. Rough does not cover it. It was downright bad. But we are currently the worst run defense in the NFL. And something has to change with that. Something has to change with it. Maybe when Ogunjobi comes back, I don't know. Maybe when Hoyt comes back, he's really good at defending the run. He's always been a good run stuffer, so you might see him taking some reps at linebacker on obvious rushing downs and have him knifing in there and stopping the running back. Terrell Bernard had a solid day, but he missed the mark a couple times and he missed a few tackles. I know he got dinged up early in the game, but you got to wrap up, baby. You got to wrap up. And Terrell Bernard did not do a great job of wrapping up today. Shaq Thompson, last couple weeks, breaking up, dump offs to the running back, just smashing. Last week, I think it was it Achane he smashed? Might have been Achane. And then today, Alvin Kamara just destroyed him up the middle. So happy we got that guy. If something happens to Terrell Bernard, we're in good hands with Shaq Thompson, so long as he can stay healthy, because he's had some concerns too. But they both went in there and they kind of, gave Terrell Bernard breaks from time to time, and Shaq Thompson played like Shaq Thompson. So I'm very happy with how he did. Then looking at the next comment, we have the defensive talent. I just feel Babbage isn't up to the task. I don't feel okay. He might be, he might not be. We'll see what happens. Adjustments will have to be made. Sean McDermott's defenses have not traditionally been great against the run. Like this, better against the pass especially when you run mostly a cover 2 or quarter zone. That's going to happen. You're going to get gashed sometimes, but it seemed more prevalent today. But also Rattler. So you're tired of hearing that Allen can't win the big ones. It's a team sport, and the defense is always on the field at the end of a playoff game when they lose. Yeah. I mean, last year the throw to Kincaid where Kincaid didn't catch it, that the defense got them back on the field, and then they got ate up at the end. But yeah, I can't disagree with that comment. Not wrong. The defense is usually what costs us in the playoffs, and so I think that's what you're really alluding to. Good evening, Izzy and my Mafia family. Good evening to you too, Sandra. Welcome to the show. Always here, always happy to have you. Remember, YouTube. See, I think we have the defensive talent. It seems like Babbage isn't up to the task. Okay. I think you were just cleaning up your previous comment, but we'll see what happens, Like, I'm hoping that Bobby Babbage is fine and up to the task, but you just never know. You just never know, and I am hoping and praying that it's not a problem going forward. Hopefully the Bills can clean this up, figure out some things. I'd have Shaq Thompson out there a little bit more, honestly, if it's me. Or you bubble wrap that man and save him for the playoffs, because teams are going to start running the ball on us a lot more now, especially since they know they can. And if they have better passing tools, then they're going to run a lot of play action against us, and that will be a problem. But also got to think we should be getting Maxwell Hairston back soon. We are going to get Hoyt and Ogunjobi back soon. And I think that today, healthy scratch Codrington is because they know that they have Maxwell Hairston coming back soon. And so when you have your first round pick coming back and you have a slot at corner dedicated to a kick returner, and you have other guys on the team who can fill that slot, I think that's what the Bills tried to do today, was find out who could do what. Like, can Curtis Samuel return kicks? Well, we found out today. Yes, he can. Can Shakir or whoever return punts? Yes, he can. Is it necessary to have a guy dedicated to that roster spot? Not when you have a team this talented. Team is way too talented to have, a spot for a guy who just has returned and does not contribute on his side of the field. Right? Codrington is a kick returner who holds a slot at corner. He is not a corner who returns kicks. Let's be clear here. I do like Codrington's style of return. Like, this is not a knock on Codrington. This is simply the numbers, right? The numbers of a roster where you have so much talent that you can't afford to give a slot to a guy like that. It's not feasible. And so now that the Buffalo Bills have gone out there and seen that, I see you, Kim. I hope so too. Yeah, I'm with you. But now that you've gone out there and seen that, okay, Curtis Samuel can return kicks. He can get us to the 35. All right, Khalil Shakir can return punts, and he can do so intelligently, right? He's not out there getting smashed while returning a punt like Codrington was. It felt to me like game to game, Codrington could go out there and just get himself hurt, and I didn't want to see anybody get hurt. And so it's to me obvious that that's what this was. I had some other guys was built in Buffalo who, they thought that this would be a big game for him because the Saints have given up so many touchdowns on returns. Funny enough, today they cleaned it up. The Saints did not have the same problem this week that they had last week, defeating returns. They got our guys to the ground, and our guys have been doing solid. So, Brandon Codrington not having a jersey today, it's a concern more for him than for us. I think that we'll be fine with the guys we have returning the balls that we are going to return. I don't see the Bills doing too many returns, honestly, because that means the other team's scoring points. Today we had some. I mean, because the Saints had 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals. So that's 4 scoring drives plus, the opening kickoff. That's 5 kickoffs that they had to us. I expect more punts than anything, but here we are. The Buffalo Bills, 4-0 on the season. Now, looking at the numbers again, Josh Allen, 16 to 22, efficiency. Missed 6 passes out of 22 passes. Clean ball. He threw that 1 interception, and he almost threw a second one. That second one, though, the announcers were saying he was off target. I disagree. His hand was hit while he was in the middle of his throw. Ball came out, lame duck, and that's why the guy who had hit couldn't handle the catch. It was a duck. So because of that, Josh kind of got bailed out on that one. But I think if Josh is accurate on that one, Shakir or Cook is taking that one upfield. Maybe for only a few yards, but it was pretty cool. Speaking of James Cook has now had his 3rd straight game with 100 yards or more. 22 carries for 117, 5.3 a carry, 1 touchdown. James Cook was just eating today. 22 carries for James Cook. Let's talk about that for a second. James Cook doesn't really carry the ball that many times. If you look at James Cook's games, the last 4 games, he's carrying the ball, 13 times. Let's see, 2025. Where is it? Nope. Okay, that's not doing it. Come on. 2025 season. There we go. Recent games. Against Baltimore, 13 carries. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Because against the Jets, 21. Against the Dolphins, 19. And against the Saints, 22. So all about the same. And he's playing like a dog, man. He's a mauler out there. He's doing excellent work out there on the ground. And I see you, LG Cromer. I see you. Let's go, Mafia. I see you, Michael Pagelsdorf. Go Bills, indeed. The Buffalo Bills out there handling business. I mean, the game could have been easier, but the other team has to cooperate in making it easy for you, and they did not. The Saints did not want to make this easy, and bravo to them because they took the Bills to the limit until the 4th quarter. Beautiful game. Now look at Josh Allen. Like Spencer Rattler, 6 carries, 49 yards. Josh Allen, 7 for 45, including 1 up the middle where he was shaking and baking and running through people. And I know we don't want to necessarily see that, but when it's necessary, you do it. And he shook number 20 out of his cleats. And I was like, oh no, Josh, put that move on that boy. And he was just eating air. Just, oh no. That's Josh Allen, baby. You look down the line, every other runner, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, Elijah Moore, they all had 1 yard each or 1 carry each, and they had 3 yards among them, and all 3 were Ray Davis's. This running attack, as of right now, is the James Cook Show, who now has, I believe it's 5 touchdowns on the year through 4 games. So that puts him on pace to score more touchdowns than he did last year, which is insane. But you know what? I'm with it. Looking at the receivers, today was the Khalil Shakir game. It appeared to be becoming the Keon Coleman game after, right? Khalil Shakir had that catch on that bubble screen. He takes up the sideline, shimmies, breaks 2 tackles, and is gone. Just flat out gone. And that was a 43-yard reception. He had 5 targets. He caught all 5 balls, 69 yards through the air, 43 of them on that one. Bunch of first downs. Khalil Shakir had himself a game. It was a good game for Khalil Shakir. Going down the line, Keon Coleman. 3 catches, 45 yards, 15 yards a pop. He was just getting 4 first downs. And he was a good participant in the first half, kind of disappeared in the second half, which is fine. everybody's supposed to eat. Dalton Kincaid, 1 catch, 28 yards, touchdown. I mean, he was wide open. There was no one there. I don't know what the Bills schemed up, right? Because they had to scheme something up. I don't know what exactly they schemed up for Dalton Kincaid to be that wide open, unless they just busted a coverage on the Saints side, which is possible. They're not necessarily a good team. They're 0-4, right? And we're now 4-0. I was impressed by either that or the Saints just messed up. But we'll see what happens going forward. I like what I saw from the offense for the most part, except the penalties. Those were pretty rough. Did not like the penalties. Let's see. I got Michael in the comments. Let's go, Buffalo. I see you. And he actually put the little Buffalo emoji. Let's go. Joshua Palmer, he had a solid day for us. He had 2 catches of 25 yards, but they were important catches. First down catches, keep the chains moving. And that's kind of what the Buffalo Bills have become. Keep the chains moving, methodical drives, put this down the field, and then there we go, Let's see. Do we need the Ravens to win? I am unsure if we need them to win. I don't care who wins that game, because if they're the 2 and the 3 seed, which is possible and maybe likely, unless the Chargers have something to say about that, which I saw that our game ended before theirs, and so I jumped right on here. The Chargers lost today. They lost to the Giants, right? So the mighty are falling to the weak. Like, let's not be surprised here. The Packers lost last week to the Browns, right? The Bills almost dropped one today to the Saints. The score is not indicative necessarily of how the Bills and the Saints game went. The Saints fought hard. They really did. But the Bills were just too much of a juggernaut. And Jackson Dart for the Giants, he turned up. I mean, good for him too, because it's kind of an important thing. You gotta turn up when your team needs you, and he absolutely positively did. And so we got another comment here. If the Ravens win, we're still up 3 games, and if KC and if they beat Kansas City, we have to play. I believe we're up 3 games on both. Yeah, technically we'll be 3 games ahead of the Ravens, because we beat them, even though we were only 2 games up technically in record. The win head to head gives us the elevation there. So technically a 3-game, yes. And then the Chiefs, we would be a 3-game lead ahead of them just based on record. And then we usually beat them in the regular season, so I don't see that changing this year. That team doesn't seem to be doing very well. I know some people are saying that Mahomes seems to be missing a step. I don't think he is. I don't think Mahomes is the problem there right now. I think he doesn't have the weapons to help him. Like, Kelsey's getting old. Kate Kate Otton's on the Buccaneers, who lost their O today to the Eagles. They fought back valiantly, but they were down big early. Let's see. Who is the Chiefs' other tight end? Noah Gray. Noah Gray went out there and he handled his business last week, helping out the Chiefs. But it's a thing, man. We're watching the Chiefs struggle, and I know we're taking glee in that, but that might not be, the flex that we think it is. Right now, if they're a wild card team, we might not even have to see them in the playoffs, right? Because they're gonna have to play the Chargers or the Ravens or some other team before they even get close to us. But we'll see. Do I want to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? I do, right? Because I'd rather beat them in the playoffs than not. But I'm telling you, man, the Buffalo Bills, they're doing enough to win these games, right? They're not trying to overextend themselves, and they did have to beat the Ravens. Obviously we were down big in that one and then come back from 14 points down with 4 minutes left to go. Like that was crazy. When the Bills need to turn it on, they can turn it on, right? In this game too, today, the Saints were too damn close. And what happened? The Bills offense turned it on, right? When the defense is having trouble, the offense can turn it on, flip a switch and go. It's kind of how it's been, but the offense is operating in such a different space now than they were before. Now we're gonna look at some statistics over here on the Saints side, right? Their best receiver today was Rashid Shaheed, right? 4 catches, 47 yards, no touchdowns. After that was Juwan Johnson, 3 catches, 28 yards. Brandon Cooks had 3 catches for 22 yards. I almost forgot that they had him back. And Chris Olave, 3 catches for 20 yards and a tutty. You know, like the Bills' defense, the pass defense was excellent for Buffalo. 126 through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Like our pass defense was not in question. Our run defense was. And so our pass defense probably gave up that touchdown because the run defense needed help. When your run defense needs help, your corners, your nickel, your safeties are going to have to come down into the box. Cole Bishop had an awesome day. That catch was nasty. But looking at the Saints over here, Kool-Aid McKinstry led them in tackles solo. Demario Davis, he had 7 tackles as well. McKinstry had 7 total, but they were all solo. Demario Davis had 5, solo. So he had some gang tackles. Carl Granderson, he had that big tackle against Shakir on 4th and 2 when we decided to go for it. And then Shakir tripped over Osiris Sorensen's foot. Carl Granderson had a solid day. He had a sack on Josh as well, as did Cameron Jordan. Again, right tackle Ryan Vandermark had a rough day today against him. But he also had 4 tackles, 4 of them solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and 2 QB hits. Look at the Bills side. Tre'Davious White, 7 total tackles, 7 solo tackles. Now, this is the thing. Tre'Davious White is not known traditionally as a tackler. He's not. He's not traditionally known as a tackler. But today, he turned into one, and we needed it. Terrell Bernard, 6 total tackles, 4 of them solo. And he was in Rattler's face. He was blitzing a lot. He had some QB hits, or he had a QB hit. He had a bunch of pressures, and thank goodness, right? Thank goodness he wasn't actually injured. I hope to see him, ice up this week and be ready for next week. But you look at Cole Bishop, 5 total tackles, 4 of them solo, and then he had the interception. Now, the interception was against Olave, but it was on a Philly special. He recognized the play. He darted to where the ball was going, and he had to elevate to go get that ball. He had to elevate to go get that ball. And the read was perfect. The jump was perfect. The catch was perfect. His first career interception. Good on you, Cole Bishop. Taron Johnson, 4 total tackles, 4 solo. Christian Benford, 4 total tackles, 4 solo. Dorian Strong, 4 total tackles, 4 solo. So our corners were tackling well. Our corners were doing well in tackling. The one that really kind of threw me off today, missing tackles, was Terrell Bernard. Like he missed a few tackles, right? Also, Deion Walker, I was wrong about this kid, man. I was wrong about this kid. I was not a fan of drafting Deion Walker. And look, I will eat this humble pie gladly, right? Because he did monstrous things today. 2 tackles for a loss today. He had 2 solo tackles total, and they were both tackles for a loss. The other one was a gang tackle where, you don't really notice it because it's a bunch of people on the pile. But the 2 solo tackles were nasty, and they were for losses. Taylor Rapp had another good tackling day. Greg Rousseau, still waiting for a sack from him. But, man, like Joey Bosa went out there and ate. Daquan Jones had a sack today. AJ Panessa had a sack today. Like we were getting some pass rush going. But Spencer Rattler, he was efficient. So good on him. Buffalo Bills come out of this game 19-31. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the Buffalo Bills grade for the first quarter of the season. And we're going to look at all their games played, right? And there's been a lot of excitement, right? Week 1 against the Ravens, the Buffalo Bills, just looked down bad. They were dominated the first 3 quarters of this game. It was not pretty. Lamar Jackson running all over him. Derrick Henry had 169 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns on 18 carries. Like, he just ate us alive, as did Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson put up 209 yards through the air, only throwing 19 passes, 14 of them completed, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, right? Zay Flowers had 143 yards in the game. He's doing on the Buffalo Bills. Well, Zay, at the end of the game, Buffalo Bills still won. So, to you. Now, the defensive line for the Ravens was excellent. Matabike was eating, on the interior. Roquan Smith had 10 tackles. For the Bills, Christian Benford had 7 tackles. And in that game in which, Matt Milano did play in that game, he played very stringently. Like, it wasn't great. It was a rough day for the linebackers in that game. He had a sack in that game. That was also Keon Coleman's game. 112 yards receiving, 8 receptions, 1 touchdown. Like Keon Coleman, I don't expect to see that from him every game, but I would say that was one hell of a game by Keon Coleman. Like, he just torched their corners, and they have good corners. Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, like they have good corners over there in Baltimore, and Keon Coleman just turned it on when we needed to, and he was a big contributing factor in that victory. Now, the Bills coming back from those 15 points, very impressive. Very impressive. That game, I give the Bills performance-wise a B. Excitement-wise, that was an A++++ game, right? But we're not talking about excitement. We're talking about how the Bills played as a team. They rallied back. But the entire game, that's a B. Maybe a B-. Now, looking at the next game, it's an A+ game by the Bills. The Jets didn't have a chance. They didn't lead at any point in the game. They got a touchdown in garbage time. It was 30-3 in the fourth quarter. Tyrod Taylor takes over for Justin Fields, who has a concussion. He scores a touchdown with our backups in there. None too impressed. Josh Allen only threw for 148 in that game. He only had to throw for 148. We put up 30 points with him throwing for 148. Tyrod Taylor, he was the leading passer on the Jets. Even though he only played a quarter, Justin Fields just was not good that game. And Taylor was 7 of 11 for, a touchdown and 56 yards, which that's what we expect from Tyrod Taylor. He's kind of a check down guru. He will throw the ball downfield if he's got a guy wide open, but other than that, he's just not that guy. But he's probably one of the best backups in the NFL. So kudos to him that game. If he played that whole game, they may have scored another touchdown. It might have been 30-17. Might have been more of a game. I'm not impressed with Justin Fields at all, but here we are. Looking at the running backs in that game, James Cook, 132 yards, 21 carries, 2 touchdowns. Like that was a big game for James Cook. And on the other side, the Jets' best running back was Justin Fields because he had the most rushing yards, 49 rushing yards on 5 carries, which probably explains how he got hurt because he was doing too much with his legs. In that game, Joshua Palmer was our leading receiver, 47 yards. Theirs was George Wilson with 50 yards. Look at the defensive line. Daquan Jones had a sack that game, and Briggs for the Jets had a sack. Matt Milano played this game as well. 5 tackles. Justin Sherwood for the Jets, 13 tackles. Like the Bills defense in that game just broke the Jets. That's an A+. Going to the Dolphins game. The Dolphins game is interesting to me because the Dolphins appeared to be in it, but they never really were, right? First half, we end the half 14-14, and then the Bills just turned it on, and the Dolphins could do nothing about it. The Dolphins scored a few points there. They scored, 7 points in the fourth, but you look at the third quarter, the Bills scored 7, Dolphins zip. Fourth quarter, Bills scored 10, Dolphins 7. And it just wasn't a problem. Josh Allen, 213 yards, Tua, 146. The Buffalo Bills might have the best passing defense in the NFL right now and the worst running defense. Something has to give, right? I would give up a little bit of that best passing defense to become a better running defense, but it's tough. It's tough. My man Michael says, Izzy, Daquan Jones is a beast. I can't believe he can still play at this high level. You can't blame him for defensive roles. I don't. It's the surrounding cast and the linebackers, in my opinion, that are having a hard time tackling runners, hitting the wrong hole where the running back is supposed to be, but or where they think he's supposed to be, and he's not there. Daquan Jones is having a stellar year. He's having a good comeback year. I like what I'm seeing out of Daquan Jones. He's got 2 sacks already in the season. But he's on pace for an 8 to 9 sack season. at the age of 35, Daquan Jones is having a year where he's an animal. Now, against the Dolphins, the Bills didn't have a single sack, but they held Tua to 146, 22 of 34, 2 touchdowns and an interception. Josh Allen, 22 of 28, 213, 3 touchdowns. James Cook had a game that day too, 19 carries for one touchdown and 108 yards. Devin Achane, 62 yards on 12 carries, right? So he had 5 yards a pop. Tyreek Hill, 49 yards on 5 receptions and a touchdown. Dalton Kincaid, 66 yards on 5 receptions and a touchdown. Sacks, Bradley Chubb had 1. Tackles, Tyrell Dodson led the Dolphins with 11. Taron Johnson led the Bills with 8. To me, that is a B-plus game for the Bills. I think that we could have beat them worse than we did. But, I know. But in the last one, you said you can't blame him. I'm not saying you said that I said that. But, like, you're talking about people in general may blame Daquan Jones because he's the nose tackle, and his job is there to plug up run lanes, and he can plug up as many run lanes as he can, but if the guys around him aren't doing their jobs to help support his job and facilitate what he's doing, then it's gonna be a rough day. And so I think that's what you meant. I don't think that you meant that I was saying that I was blaming him. I clearly wasn't. I don't think you said that. So we're on the same page there. But yeah, the Dolphins are a dumpster fire, and so it is what it is. The Bills in that game, I gave them a B plus, right? So we got an A plus, we got a B, and a B plus. That averages out to about an A minus to a B plus thus far. Now we look at the Saints game. Right, the Saints game was a close one. I already went over the Saints game in heavy detail the first 30 minutes of the show, so we don't need to go over that again. I'll give a short snippet of what it was. Spencer Rattler, 18 of 27, 1 touchdown, 126 yards, also an interception. So we had our fun there. Alvin Kamara, 15 carries, 70 yards. Rashid Shaheed, 4 receptions, 47 yards. Cam Jordan, 1 sack. And DeMario Davis, 7 tackles. Trey White, 7 tackles. Daquan Jones, 1 sack. Khalil Shakir, 5 receptions on 5 targets, 69 receiving yards and a touchdown. James Cook went off for 22 carries and a touchdown, 117 on the ground. Let's go. And do you see how he runs all over the field even when the play isn't coming towards him? He'll run 20. Yes. I think that's why the Bills brought him in originally, right? They brought Daquan Jones in because he's a guy who has maximum effort, right? He's Deadpool out there, man. You can ding him up a little bit, but maximum effort every play. Appreciate the play of Daquan Jones. Last year he had a down year, but he was coming off of a torn pec, and I think people thought his career was over. And now he's showing you it's not. His career is doing just fine. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab something to drink real quick. I'm gonna grab me a seltzer water or something because I'm dry here. And I'm back. Gotta stay hydrated, folks. Get you a bubbly. And no, it's not alcoholic. If you know, you know. All right, guys. So I guess someone showed up to the house. The Bills in this game on offense played mostly well. There were some hiccups here and there, but they put up 31 points again. 2 years in a row now, the Buffalo Bills, from what I heard on the broadcast, I don't know if it's true because I didn't double check this. So if they didn't, have scored 30 points or more in their first 4 games of the season, right? I think that we could all agree that the Buffalo Bills offense is not the problem right now, right? And we don't have a problem right now because we're 4-0. But that run defense is going to have to improve. They allowed 189 yards on the ground. A lot of that was Spencer Rattler. So, being that a lot of that was, in fact, Spencer Rattler, one sec. That dog likes to pick on the baby. Well, not the baby, but the tiny one. Anyways, the defense is going to have to do something, right? They're going to have to. Now, In this game, the Bills total yards 356, Saints 299. Bills won the yardage. Right. In this game, the Bills also broke even on turnovers. I don't know how that's possible. Let's see. Box score here. Spencer Rattler. Okay, no, Spencer Rattler did not throw an interception. That was Chris Olave. Never mind. Rattler did not throw a pick. Rattler and Josh Allen both threw picks. So the turnover battle was tied yet again. Or at least the Bills actually tie the turnover battle or they win the turnover battle. Let's see. First downs. The Saints had more first downs than us. And that's what I was telling you guys about how Spencer Rattler was playing very efficient ball. Even though he didn't have a lot of yards, he was cutting the Bills up. He was hitting us with 1,000 paper cuts. Like what we say our offense does, their offense was awfully reminiscent of ours, but more like ours last year because they used multiple running backs. Right? James Cook had 22 carries. Ray Davis had 1. Right? You look at this game here, freaking all of the carries for the Saints were pretty spread out. Alvin Kamara, 15. Kendre Miller, 11. Spencer Rattler, 6. The Bills, James Cook, 22. Josh Allen, 7. So if you look at last year, Ray Davis got a lot more play, as did Ty Johnson. You're not seeing a lot of those guys, but I'm guessing that's because of James Cook making all that money, man. And so when you have a guy making that much money, he's got to see the field. Also, when he's playing as efficiently as he is and as great as he is, you got to give him the ball. You have to give him the ball. And he's not taking big hits. James Cook is not getting smashed out there. If guys are coming, he's getting down. If big guys are coming, and if he has the leverage on someone, he'll lay down the boom. He's not a big guy, but James Cook is playing outstanding freaking football, including today. Penalties today. Don't even get me freaking started on this, right? This needs to get cleaned up immediately. Saints had freaking 4 penalties for 41 yards, right? So the yardage between the penalties was like 14-yard difference. Right? They did bigger penalties, but we did a lot more of them. And so when you have a 5-yard penalty that's an automatic first down, that's a problem. It's a problem. When you have a 5-yard penalty and they're 3rd and 3, that's a problem because that's a first down. When you commit a penalty like DPI, it's a problem. Personal fouls, problems. Like, gotta clean this crap up. Deion Dawkins not jumping off sides, false starting. It's a problem. David Edwards with the hold. It's a problem. Like, gotta cut this out. Time of possession, the Bills won that battle 31-21 to 28-39. Clearly, the Buffalo Bills did their thing in this game. This game, I give the Bills a B+. So, for the first quarter of the season, my grade for the Buffalo Bills is a B+. Right? The defense is good on one side, bad on the other. Special teams has been fine. Haven't had many hiccups there. The Buffalo Bills seem to be moving away from Brandon Codrington in order to bring Max Harrison onto the roster probably next week or the week after. And I think they'll keep Codrington on the roster until Harrison is brought back up. I think that's obvious. But don't get this twisted here. The Buffalo Bills are prepared, and then they're evaluating all their guys who will need to be released when we bring these guys forward. I'm proud of the way that they are playing, mostly, but a B+ is the grade they get from me. Now, guys, this is going to conclude my post-game show. This is going to conclude my grading of the Bills September. It's fairly cut and dry. I love all of you. Thank you all for being here and supporting Built in Buffalo, for supporting me, for watching the Redzone Report on a weekly basis. God bless you all. I know a lot of you guys are probably watching the Chiefs-Baltimore Ravens game, as you should be, right? I know I'm competing with that, and I hope that a bunch of you guys come back, like, share, and subscribe afterwards, just to check out what I went through this whole show. And again, I'm going to give a quick moment of silence to my dear friend, John Buffington, who passed away at the early age of 51. He was a sergeant, staff sergeant in the Army, retired. So, Sergeant Buff, Godspeed. And remember, paratroopers never die. They just slip away. Go Bills.